Chapter 3. The boy's name was Jeremiah Walker, and he played second base. "I swear I've seen him do it," Lewis told him. "Look, I may be blind," Jeremiah said, "but you can't tell me nobody ever made a baseball curve. I'm telling you, his name is Candy Cummings. He's one of the boys come around to play with us. Lives out near Red Hook. He got to throwing clamshells on a curve one day and reckoned he could do the same thing with a ball." They passed the spot on the road where Lewis had met the corporal, and he knew they had a mile yet to go. He was enjoying the baseball talk so much he almost hated to get there. "Clamshells?" Jeremiah said. "I swear I saw him skunk some of the best hitters in my hometown." Lewis had come dangerously close to saying Brooklyn, and he worried now that Jeremiah might have heard of Red Hook. He'd have to be more careful. "You only count catches on the fly, right?" he asked. "Course, though there's some that still play off the bounce. They ain't finding too many takers, though." "Back home," Lewis said, careful not to give anything away, "there were only 3 clubs that played that way when I left. I expect they've given it up by now." "How many unhittable balls do you allow before you grant the batter first base?" 3, Lewis told him. "Your umpires count every pitch?" "No, just when things start to get out of hand one way or the other." "What about bunting?" Jeremiah asked. "Do your teams look upon it favorably, or—" Lewis put up a hand to stop the Confederate. What is it?" Jeremiah said. Lewis hadn't heard anything and he hadn't seen anything. Instead, he was beginning to wonder if there wasn't something else he should do with Jeremiah. He couldn't believe he was even considering it, but he knew in his heart he could not take the second baseman in as a prisoner of war, not even for a promotion. "I think we need to turn here," he said. He led Jeremiah off into the woods and circled around. Isn't this the direction we just came from?" Jeremiah asked. "Hey, who's the ones with the eyes here? Trust me." Jeremiah got quiet, but soon they were talking baseball again as Lewis guided them through the woods. He eventually found a wide, dark field with trampled grass, which meant either the Army of Northern Virginia or a herd of elephants had come this way. Though he knew it was crazy, Lewis followed the trail. The two walked for hours, never running out of baseball talk. They had just begun discussing the merits of stealing bases when a voice in the darkness interrupted them. "Who comes there?" Neither of them spoke, and Jeremiah nudged Lewis. Friend," Lewis said. The sentry waited. Lewis heard a rustling. "And the countersign, friend?" Jeremiah turned his blind eyes toward Lewis like he was waiting for him to answer. "Jeremiah," Lewis whispered, I don't know." A confused look passed over his friend's face. Then Jeremiah turned toward the voice in the darkness and said, "Blueberry pie, friend." There was a pause, and Lewis waited for the lead to start flying if Jeremiah's memory had gotten knocked to Tuesday when his rifle exploded. "Advance, friend, blueberry pie," came the voice. There was more rustling, which Lewis took to mean they were no longer in the sentry's sight. "Need a hand there?" "No," Lewis and Jeremiah said together, and too quickly. "No," Jeremiah said. "Thank you kindly. We're not bad off. Just got a little turned around on the way home." "Godspeed," the sentry told them, "and be a little quicker with the countersign next time, boys. There's Yankees on sacred soil." "We will, sir, thank you," Jeremiah said. He nudged Lewis, and they were off, giving the picket a wide berth. When they were a little ways into the wood, Lewis spoke. I don't know what I was thinking. I must have forgotten the password." "I think I can forgive my guardian angel that one transgression," Jeremiah said. Lewis stopped him. The time for lies was at an end. "Jeremiah, I'm not an angel. I'm a devil. A red-legged devil. I'm not a Reb, Jeremiah. I'm a Yankee." Jeremiah didn't look as shocked as Lewis thought he would be. "I know," he said. "You know? What, because I didn't know the countersign?" Jeremiah pulled away from Lewis and reached out until he found a tree to anchor himself. "I don't figure it's something you'll ever need to know," he said, "but Nashville is south of Louisville by a far piece. Any Southern boy'd know that. Heck, an Ohioan would know that." "Right," Lewis said, disappointed he hadn't known. "And you ain't going to find too many clamshells anywhere but the ocean, and you didn't say you was from Charleston or some such." I could have been from Norfolk. That's on the ocean, isn't it? And I don't know what city you're from where only 3 teams still count flyouts on the bounce. There ain't but 4 teams in Louisville, perhaps 10 in all of Kentucky. Okay, I get it. As a spy, I'm not worth a plugged nickel. Not only that, Jeremiah said, you talk like a Yankee. Oh, yeah? Well, you talk like a cotton-picking rebel. Lewis and Jeremiah laughed, then grew quiet. What I can't figure, Jeremiah said, is what we're doing at the edge of the Confederate Army camp. When I had you pegged for a Yank, I thought for sure we were off to your side, not mine. Why come along then? Lewis asked. Jeremiah shrugged. I can't see. What was I going to do? Clonk you up on the head and set out on my own? I figured a Union prison camp was better than running into trees until a bear ate me. That was the plan. A prison camp, I mean. Then I changed my mind. Why? I don't know. You were going home tomorrow, and so was I, and, well, I guess I figured anybody that liked baseball that much couldn't be too bad a person, rub or not. Jeremiah fumbled with his sack and withdrew his baseball bat. If you've a mind to conk me now, Lewis told him, I think it only fair to remind you that I can see you coming. Jeremiah smiled. Here, he said, holding the bat out to Lewis. He meant for him to have it. No, I couldn't, Lewis said. Your pa made that. And just what am I going to do with it? He asked. Go on, take it. This whole thing was a mistake to begin with. We weren't supposed to fire, you know. We were just watching the game on a lark. Then Samuels got twitchy and went and shot that boy, the center fielder. It wasn't right. But we had to take it up then, or else have you boys on our heels. Look, maybe it's just a flash burn, Lewis said. You might get your sight back after a time. Then you'll need that bat again. If that happens, my pa can make me another. Here, take this back to, what, New York? No, not New York. Brooklyn. Is that close to Nashville? Jeremiah asked. Very nearly, Lewis said, smiling. Here. Jeremiah stepped forward until Lewis had to take the bat or be struck by it. Wait, I'll trade you, Lewis told him. He hesitated a moment, then pulled his father's baseball from his pocket and put it in Jeremiah's hand. The rebel turned it over, feeling the surface of it. This is a fine baseball. The finest, Lewis said. My pa made that when he was a boy. Sounds like you don't want to part with it. It's my good luck charm, Lewis told him, but I think you need it more than me. You sure about that? Looked around at where you're at lately? Lewis smiled. I'll be all right. I'm going home tomorrow, and I'm not going to let anybody stop me. Jeremiah held out a hand, and they shook as friends. Too bad we couldn't have settled this whole thing over a game of baseball, Lewis told him. Trading fly balls instead of lead ones. Better for your side we didn't, Jeremiah said. You'd have lost for sure. Oh, you'd best be heading on, Jeremiah told him. I can make it from here. Lewis looked about at the forest. It had started to glow with the first hint of morning. I think you'll be bouncing off the trees from here to Richmond, Lewis told him. Better let me take you a little farther in. This time Lewis kept his eye out for sentries and spotted a campfire through the bracken before the picket spotted them. The boys shook hands once more and took their leave. Lewis with a new hickory bat, Jeremiah with a new baseball. Lewis hoped his father would understand, and he suspected he would. Over his shoulder he heard Jeremiah Walker call to the sentries for help, and Lewis took off for Brooklyn as fast as his red devil legs could carry him.